We have just finished our very first altar in KVK Season of Conquest, and today I'm going to be walking you through some of the best marches to use in altar to do well. Stick around to learn more. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another Rise of Kingdoms gameplay episode from your very own Shappy Gaming. Today we are going to be talking about Altar of Darkness. Yes, this is one of the most fun killing events within KVK, and there are certain ways that you could do really well in Altar, and there are certain ways where you can do absolutely horribly. So today we're going to be going over some of the best marches that I noticed in this run of Altar, as well as some of the things that you probably want to keep in mind as you're going about Altar. Now, we're specifically talking about Altar here because that's the main fighting point we're in Heroic Anthem. I do know in some KVKs you can also fight over ruins, I believe. So just keep that in mind. These are interchangeable for verbiage, but the main thing that we're keeping in mind here is the whole one march rule that comes into play when you are going to fight in the altar. And that's really important because this one march rule makes it so activity is key, and you have to be using the best single marches that you possibly can in order to win. So taking a look at some of my reports from Altar, you can see that overall I did pretty well. Most of my marches traded pretty positively, but you'll also notice a couple of themes here. The main thing that you can see is I was using kind of the same marches every single time. Now, there were some things that worked better than others. There were some things that didn't work at all. But let's actually talk through what worked, what didn't, and what you should probably be doing. So first things first, Altar. There are good infantry marches, there are good cavalry marches, and there are good archer marches. There are also really good engineering marches. But the main thing that you want to keep in mind with Altar is you only get one march. And this means a couple different things. A, you want that march to be lasting as long as actually possible. This is really important. The second thing you want to keep in mind, you want that march to be able to get in and out as quick as possible. This is valuable for a couple different reasons. For the first, you're going to be running away from enemies, right? There's going to be a sequence here where you're going to be running from your pass, they're going to be running from theirs, and you're probably going to be fighting somewhere over here. Now, if you're low on health, you have two options. You can either kill your march or you can start to run home. Personally, I prefer to run home mainly because of the time aspect, and I would just camp right here and then set my next march in. But march speed is really important here, which is why many people are not running archers in this altar. Now, engineering is a really interesting prospect here because of the fact that, as I said, there is a pretty set clash point, right? You're going to be sitting right around here. Now, if you're using engineering, what this means is you can actually set up maybe right over here or right over here and just start sniping. And I saw a lot of people do really well using engineering, but the main thing you have to keep in mind here is it's a balancing act. You need to have some people using engineering, but you need to have the gross majority using another type of march. Now, the other thing that I want to make sure you keep in mind is you want your best equipment on the march going into the altar or ruins. That's super important because if you don't, then you're going to be losing out. The other thing that I feel is an absolute must for altar is you need to be popping your expansions. And the reason for this is that A, if you have more troops than your enemy, you're going to have a larger damage factor, which means you're going to be beating them quicker. The other thing is you only get one march. So you want to be lasting there as long as humanly possible and dealing the most amount of damage. So if you're only using, 200k troops, A, enemies are going to have more troops than you, so your march is going to die quicker and your trades are going to be worse. And B, you're not going to be dealing quite as much damage, and so you're not going to be bringing in as many kills. An altar only lasts about 2 hours, but it's a great opportunity to be bringing in these kills. So just some things to keep in mind there. Always pop your expansions. Always put your best equipment on your troops. Now, things you shouldn't do. I recommend very highly against using non-meta commanders in here, especially as your primary troop. If you want to use, Ho Chi Bing with Attila, probably wouldn't recommend it, but you can do that so long as you put Attila behind Ho Chi Bing. If you are using a non-meta commander, especially in Alter, more than anything else, that march is going to get targeted, and it is going to get targeted fast. And that is something really, really important to consider. What does non-meta mean? Well, Attila's a given. Honestly, I wouldn't use Alex as primary either. Probably wouldn't use Nebu as primary. Any commander that is older, I just wouldn't use them as primary. Honestly, Guan is even questionable for me. If you want to use him as primary, I probably would not. Now, another commander that I absolutely recommend against is going to be Boudica. Why? Boudica is a single target commander, which makes her not as valuable in Alter. One of the things you'll see as we talk about the marches you should be bringing is there are going to be a lot of AoE commanders. And the reason for that is Alter is just one big murder ball. You're either going to be consolidated here in the Altar of Darkness, or you're going to be consolidated at the entrance, or you're going to be consolidated at one of the passes. AoE is going to be quintessential here. If you're running Boudica as a primary, you're going to be targeted by all of the cavalry, because cavalry, again, are the fastest troop type here, and speed is super important. And you're a single target commander, so you're not going to be dealing as much damage in the short amount of time that your march might be there. So I would not use Boudica. Now, who would I use? So I used a bunch of different pairs during Alter, and I'll tell you which ones I think did the best. For cavalry, I used Nevsky with William. Nevsky William is a really nice setup. They have a great synergy. If we go through my ports with them, you can see, here we go, Nevsky William did 224 here. You can see Nevsky William didn't do as well here, but that's okay. You can see Nevsky William did really well here. And the reason for this is William is going to be an AoE commander who specializes in the field. And Nevsky is still meta enough that he's going to be viable and not targeted super quickly. Now, the other thing is these two commanders have such a great synergy in terms of speed. You have a march speed bonus of 20% with Nevsky, and then you have a march speed bonus of 15% with William. So you can hit and run fairly easily, and this pair just did really well. I would absolutely recommend this duo. Now, another duo that I used a lot was Ho Chu Bing with Joan. Ho Chu Bing with Joan is a really, really good pair for ruins. Ho Chu Bing is a great primary commander that you can use, and his skill that you get here, where you sit outside for a longer period of time, this 30-second skill, really makes a big difference because he's probably already going to have been out for 30 seconds, which means he's going to be dealing more normal attack damage. So personally, I'm a big fan of him. I think he's going to be viable in ruins. He was viable for me. Again, most of my marches traded pretty positively here, but let's just go back over here so you can see for yourself. Here you go. Ho Chu Bing with Joan did well. Ho Chu Bing with Joan did well. You can use Ho Chu Bing with William as well if that's the march that you have. Now, a commander I would not use as primary is actually going to be Joan. Joan is a secondary commander at heart, and she has the mobility tree. Again, people are looking for better marches to target here. So if you can target a Joan, you're going to. I would probably go with Ho Chu Bing as primary in most cases. Nevsky and Ho Chu Bing are going to be your cavalry primaries. Now, that's it for cavalry. You have the AoE with William, you have the AoE with Joan. The theme continues as we start looking at infantry. For infantry, you have two choices. You can run Luce with Alex, or you can run Scipio with Luce. Personally, I really liked Luce with Alex. It is a fast march, it dealt a lot of smite damage, and Luce as primary is probably not going to be targeted for a couple of reasons. A, he does have a little bit more swarm-proof nature to him. He's a tankier commander. And B, Luce with Alex is deceptively fast. And the other thing is, Alex actually benefits some of the other marches in the field. With that shield, you're actually making all of the other marches faster. And the more Alexes you have, the more buff you're going to be getting here. So you have a really nice synergy between these two commanders. I also got the museum buff for Alex to make him even stronger. And personally, this pair was my best in this ruins. Luce with Alex is a great pairing. Scipio Luce is also a pretty good pairing. The challenge I found is that I thought my Scipio got targeted a little bit more than my Luce did, but you can totally use this. You do get the same march speed bonuses, and honestly, it is a good pair, and you get that double AoE from Scipio, which we really, really like. Again, the more AoE you can get, the better. So that was the infantry setup we used. Scipio Luce or Luce Alex. Don't use anyone else because it will not trade as well. Now, one pair that I really feel the need to address is going to be Ho Chi Bing with Nevsky. Ho Chi Bing with Nevsky is a great single target pair for duels. Neither of these commanders have AoE. I don't recommend using this pair in Altar. You are not going to get the AoE benefit that you get from the murder balls, and you are not going to be really benefiting your allies all that much either with either of these commanders. They are a selfish march in my opinion, and I don't think that they are the best march for Altar. In a 1v1 duel, 100% they're the best. But Ho Chi Bing with Nevsky is not going to be the best march you can bring for Cavalry for Altar. Now that I've got that over, let's talk about archers. Yes, archers. Archers are probably the least viable troop for this Altar. And there are a couple of reasons for that. A, they're slow. And B, a lot of people are running cavalry, so you're more likely to get targeted. That said, there are some archer marches that you can use to do really well in Altar of Darkness. But this is going to be glass cannon extraordinaire. I would not bring Boudica as a primary. I would not bring Nebu as a primary. You can use your Ashurbanipal if you have him maxed. He's going to be super useful. I believe he also has an AoE effect, which is going to make him valuable. Let's just double check that real quick. Yep, he does have an AoE, so that's going to make him really valuable. You can use Ashurbanipal with Nebu as secondary if you want, or you can just use him with Zhuge Liang or YSG. Now, the main pair that I do recommend is actually going to be Herman Prime with Zhuge Liang. This is the pair that I saw do the most damage at scale. And the other benefit of this is that if you're using Herman Prime, because of his poison, you're actually going to be debuffing a lot of the enemy in this murder ball. And the other thing is if you're debuffing them and then you have Zhuge Liang behind him, you're going to be dealing so much skill damage to those targets that you just debuffed. So even if your archers aren't going to be making it home, you are still going to be dealing a lot of damage. Now, the other value prop here is if there are a number of people using Herman, that poison stack really starts to add up. And if you're targeting one target and other people target that target too with the poison stacks, it's just going to kill those enemies a lot faster. Herman is a must if you're using archers in Ruins. If you don't have Herman maxed, you can use Zhuge Liang with YSG. This is a major glass cannon. Your march is going to get melted if targeted, but you can deal a ton of damage in Altar. That is a totally viable pair. I've seen a lot of people use it and do really well. You can also use Herman with YSG as well for a similar effect. But that's really the setup that I would recommend for archers. For engineering, I've seen a lot of people use Margaret, and she seems to be trading pretty well. So if you want to use Margaret, go ahead. I don't know all that much about engineering. If you want to learn more, go check out Mr. Siege on YouTube. But you can use Margaret with Babur. That's a pair I've seen do really well. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and hopefully this helps you do really well in Altar. I did pretty well. I think I picked up 2 to 3 million kills. If you've enjoyed, be sure to hit that subscribe button right over there, bottom right-hand corner, and drop a like on this video. It helps me out a ton. And hit that bell so you get notified when new episodes come out. Thank you all. Shappy out.